Hello, fellow Walking Dead comic book fans. This is Solid Dave Snake, continuing my reviews on the Walking Dead Comic Series 4 action figures by Mcfarlane Toys. And in this review, we're going to take a look at the comic book version of Abraham Ford. And before we actually get started here, I want to give a quick warning that there will be spoilers for the Walking Dead comic book. If you haven't read past issue 53 in the comic book, you may want to back on out of this review. But if you have read past that point, you are going to love this review. And with having said that, this action figure is my favorite human character in this Walking Dead comic series 4. And it is not my favorite overall action figure in this series. The pincushion zombie is going to hold that spot. But out of all the human characters, he is definitely the best sculpted, best painted, and really well articulated. So he's my favorite, and he is based off of his first appearance look from The Walking Dead issue 53. And in the back of these hardback books of The Walking Dead, they have all the covers, because I don't actually have the individual issue. But I will show you the cover that this look is based off of. And it is a great representation. He has the same exact clothing on, excellent likeness in the face and overall body. And he comes with the accessories to give him this look, with that AK-47 and military rucksack on his back. And now that we have this Abraham, it really makes me want a Eugene Porter and Rosita to go along with him. And I think those characters would translate into action figure form very well. So hopefully we get those in the future. But now let's break down this Abraham. And we'll kick it all off with his accessories, which he is actually holding a weapon now that did not come with him. It came with Carl Grimes, the M16. But in the comic books, it was Abraham's gun. So I thought I'd throw it in here and have him holding it just to show that you can use that accessory with Abraham as well. And he fits it real nice in his left hand. And I've already showed it off in the Carl review, but I'll show it off one more time here since it was Abraham's. I love this weapon. This was a brand new mold for this weapon, as well as the other assault rifle he is holding. Where the M16 was the weapon he used later on in the comic books, this AK-47 was how we were introduced to him. This was the assault rifle that he used for a good many issues in the comic book. And one thing that I'm really happy about getting this accessory is that we have never got an AK-47 in the TV series of action figures or the comic series. So it's nice to finally get one. However, there's no buttstock on this one. It's exactly like the one he had in the comics, which did not have a stock. But there's great detail overall in this. Black paint with silver dry brushing. The brown stock to give it that wooden look. And then we flip it around and it has all the right parts that should be on an AK. It's a great accessory. And another weapon that he comes with that he used at the beginning of his storyline is a pitchfork. Because when he ran into the group, it was whenever Rick and everyone was staying at Herschel's farm after the fall of the prison. And that's when Abraham and Rosita and Eugene showed up. And in that issue, Abraham had to dispatch some walkers with this pitchfork. So that's great he came with this. Nothing too fancy with it, and it feels a little fragile, so be careful if you do pick this action figure up with this accessory. But it's just a little 4-pronged pitchfork. And he also comes with a handgun that fits real nice in his holster on his right-hand side here. And there's nothing too special about it. It's just like a lot of handguns that have come with previous Walking Dead action figures. And it actually looks like the same pistol that came with the Comic Series 1 Rick Grimes. Looks just like it, however painted different. It's a lot of silver coming out through that black. And like I said, it fits in that holster perfectly. And they're real nice and snug. And besides his AK-47, my favorite accessory for Abraham is his military rucksack, which I'll give a 360 view for all of you while it's on him here. And then I'll show you how to take it off. And right here under his left arm, you'll see that this strap can easily be pulled out. There's a peg on this strap which fits right in the hole on the back of the rucksack, and then you just slide the other end over his right arm. And we'll get this up real nice and close because there's a lot of great detail on it. Excellent sculpted detail with all the pouches and zippers and buckles and straps. The weathering all over it, folds and wrinkles, even slight color variation from the straps to the actual rucksack. Even on the bottom of the sack, it looks like it's been laid down a whole bunch with all that scraping and weathering down on the bottom. Pouches on both sides, and even great detail on the back side. Mcfarlane didn't skip out on the detail with this rucksack. I love it. And it'll be interesting to see what all other characters I'll be able to fit this on. But it does fit perfectly on Abraham. So excellent, excellent accessories. He really comes with some nice when the comic book series action figures always seem to come with great accessories, and a lot of them. But now let's get Abraham up close here and go over him from head to toe. And like I said, he's my favorite human character out of this series because the likeness is flawless. It's a perfect sculpt from head to toe. And he is a big action figure compared to the other human characters. Just like he should be. He was massive in the comic books, even bigger than Michael Cutlass playing him on the TV show. And you see how big his arms are as well. And let's get in close on that face, which turned out phenomenal. Very chiseled face. Got blue eyes. His handlebar mustache. And red hair. The color is perfect. Just like off the issue 53 cover. Even his ears are sculpted to look exactly like how they were in the comic book. Kind of protruding out here, almost like he has cauliflower ear. And for having a simple clothing design, it is sculpted perfect, and there's tons of detail in it for how simple it is. So he just has this white tank top, but the folds and wrinkles in it are sculpted excellent. And it is white, but with a kind of black wash to it, which gives it a real weathered look. So that turned out real nice. And the folds and wrinkles look great on the back, too. He probably has the biggest arms out of any of these comic series action figures, besides Negan. And it's probably the biggest character besides Negan as well. And there's excellent detail on his gloves. From the strap here at the wrist to the black on the ends of the fingertips and around the wrist. The exposed skin right in the middle of the glove. And they even went as far to add in these little vent holes on the knuckles. There's 3 holes on each knuckle, so that's some really fine sculpting detail in there. And this belt that has the holster on it is a very pliable plastic. But it's meant to look like a military belt. Of course, it's green, matching his pants. Even detail on the seam going down the side of the holster. Looks good. And of course, he has these olive army pants with two cargo pockets on each side. And then the black military boots, which are detailed really nice, and even went as far to sculpt the tread at the bottom. I love how Mcfarlane does that. Although it's a little upsetting on this side, you get the manufacturing print instead of the actual sculpting to the tread. So from head to toe he looks great, and from head to toe with articulation he is really good too, especially for as big of a character as this is. He has a ball joint at the head which will rotate all the way around, and you can get some little bit of tilt in it, but he will look real far down and pretty far up as well. However, if you have him looking up and then twist it to the side, you can see kind of a unsightly gap there for the peg. But you're not really going to have him looking that far to the side anyways. And he does have a ball joint and hinge at the shoulders, which won't quite go up to 90 degrees, but will rotate all the way around. Same thing at the elbows, which won't quite go up to 90 degrees, but close, and will actually hyperextend a little bit and rotate all the way around. He has the cut right here at the wrist, which you can rotate, and then a hinge for the hand, and a peg there that you can rotate as well. And he has a cut at the waist, which you can get full rotation out of, so it'll spin all the way around. And then he has the updated leg articulation, which you can get him to kick really high up to 90 degrees and really far back. And then the joint to go outward. And he has the ball joint and hinge at the knee, which will go almost up to 90 degrees and rotate all the way around. And the only upsetting point of articulation in this action figure for me is at the boot. He only has a cut. So it'll rotate all the way around, but there's nothing down here at the actual foot and ankle area. So you can't get any ankle pivot out of him, which is kind of upsetting. And I'm going to pull Negan out real quick because he's got boots, yet they gave him ankle pivot. So I'm wondering why Mcfarlane is not doing that with some of these bigger characters moving forward. Found that a little weird. But all in all, like I said, this is my favorite human character out of this series, and if you're a fan of the comic book, I have to give him a very high recommendation. I really think you'll enjoy this action figure if you're a fan of Abraham especially, or just a fan of the comic books. And before I leave here, I'm going to pull out a couple of his buddies from this same point in the comic book. We'll stick Rick Grimes out here, and Andrea. And these are some of the characters from the Fear the Hunter story arc is how they looked. And they look great together. I really like how this turned out. So, alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this review. And if you want this figure, I hope you're able to pick him up. He's available at Toys R Us now. So, go out and get him, guys. And stay tuned, because my Jesus Paul Monroe review will be up next.